wasn't helping you. I wouldn't have put that to be wool to touch it.
And then this has the
Type lace, pattern lace out of linen. Yeah.
oh, fascinating.
Is
and what
that
do you do for fun? Are
what
you a woodworker or anything?
culture? European or?
Oh yes, yeah. 17th century wasn't made here. Yeah.
Well, blue Belgium or
Yeah.
you know.
France, Belgium, England. Yep.
Came today.
Yeah, I remember.
Come on in.
My first child was born
I
there.
couldn't imagine
Oh,
when I
that was so
retired.
nice. I love that
I'm spinning,
hospital.
weaving, and dyeing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in high school there was a foundling home.
So I spin on the regular Saxony wheels, typically. And because when you're at that kind of wheel that these people are using, you're pulling and drafting with your right hand. Working on a walking wheel, it's all the other hand. And so my brain has no real issue. And I've washed it, and now the trick with a grate wheel, which is also a wool wheel or a walking wheel, those are all the different terms, is fiber prep. So you've got to have light and airy fibers. And this wind is going in the wrong direction today. So look at that. So I want to get this one mixed into that one. Yep. So there. So we're adding twist. They're going to try to get this started. There. And so because and see, I always want to grab with my right hand.
You actually weave with that?
Well, I have been learning to spin for so long.
I want to look in the garden barn and see if the one that I bought. Well, I bought one, and I left it there when I left the village.
Yeah.
But she took me to the Eastern Shores.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, we had a great time.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that speedboat racing.
Yeah, you wouldn't dye like in this form. Flax, cellulose fibers are not conducive to natural dyeing. And a lot of Scandinavian people, they just sort of hung it from these the staffs that are tall and right. They just kind of hung it.
Yeah, I'm Donna.
There's another method where you kind of lay it in a fan, you fan it out, and then you roll it onto like a basket, like this kind of basket thing.
She's a friend of
I don't like to do that, so we don't.
Well, there we
do
go.
it that way. But that's also a traditional way to do it.
And this dry fan goes over to here, and that makes this whole unit go.
Oh, okay.
You don't put
You don't need to pull it
because it's
if it's good quality, and you've got some twist in there.
And it pulls
And then
it
the
in,
water
wraps it around.
is on my finger. So the water, flax gets stronger.
So when the uptake's different, it's really hard to
So if there's a little loop,
So I just use it.
it'll snag on there. So the water helps it,
And it spins beautifully.
stabilize it. And then once it gets on here, it dries.
Yeah,
so it's kind of to facilitate.
Yeah, so as I said, I had John at
smoother.
would make it kind of go in.
Once it dries,
They're not long, so they don't tangle all up. And even if they do tangle up, you can kind of pull them apart. Whereas if these tangle up, you can't pull them apart. So you'd have to, like if I had a whole big knot here,
to get it kind of smooth.
wow. It's a long process.
Full size.
What's that?
You're just doing one,
40 hours of spinning.
Yeah. I don't ever apply.
These little balls, and I shipped it in a little shoebox, right? You know, and I think I charged him $100.
You don't have to.
So that was like $2 an hour.
It just keeps the hairiness
You know, I
down.
mean,
If you wet it right where you're putting the twist in, it helps the pectin to sort of.
Now here's
make it hold
Williamsburg, who
together.
should know better. How much labor that took. Stuff and put it, more on there, and
This is extremely interesting. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
you're welcome.
All this stuff spun because I want to get this on the
In a couple minutes over at the retting pond if anybody has
So yeah, you'll want to go see that. It's very, very informative, but you'll see a whole crowd travel down, so you won't miss it. So flax can grow very tall. Actually, this is very tall. Like my flax this year is only maybe about this high. So she had a good year this year, last year. So this has been retted, and I usually just take an amount that I can grip easily in my hand, in one hand. And then this tool here is called a break, and it literally is going to break up the woody parts of the stalk, and they'll fall off. So use it to crush and break the woody part of the plant. If the fiber's been well retted, properly retted, a lot, not too much of it will break off. I'm running into break. It's only designed to break the woody parts of the plant, and the rest of the fibers, if they're strong, should be holding together and stay together. But yeah, this is also a little bit over-retted, I think.
Can you ret and then leave it for a year like this is?
Yes, it's a process at your own pace. So yeah, this is a good example of over-retted.
It was built as a means of water retting flax and really get it done very quickly.
Are you dissolving the pectin?
Dissolving the pectins, yeah. And Michelle is really knowledgeable about all these sort of anaerobic, aerobic bacteria relationships that happen, particularly in the pond, but also on the ground. So we have about 2 weeks ago. And so the idea is that microbes and bacteria from the ground and then moisture help to break down the pectins and the fibers through a process of, just fermentation and developing, bacteria. And so the idea is that you want to be able to separate the fiber from the stalk. And so after 2 weeks, I can see I pulled like one of the, Create fabric and other products that they were selling. So we don't know. We haven't found the perfect ledger yet to give us those answers, but we continue to look. And so I have an example of some of last year's pond-retted flax. And so that's another thing you notice when you do ret and you pond ret. The color tends to be a little bit different. It's not really an issue. With retting in the field, you have to tet it, you have to rotate it. And so there's a lot of work involved there, rather than when you pond ret it, you lay it in the water, there's water on both sides, the rotting is happening on both sides, so it's a little bit less work intensive as well. And just to say, so last year's flax, so that's another thing, is that, it's always a process of experimentation. It's always a process of like, what do you have for available resources? So this is flax from 3 years ago, and this was Natalie. Last year we couldn't get Natalie seeds, and that was the preferred fiber variety, for me anyway, in my limited experience, but it was just beautiful. It produced beautiful fiber. Last year, because of the shortage of Natalie, I was growing Lenore, which is a shorter...
If it's over-retted, I actually think this, maybe it was from 2 years ago then, because I think this is just breaking and breaking. So I think this was over-retted, and the issue is then you get very little yield out of your bundle.
Right.
So that's just to stress why retting is such an important part of the process.
Because if you over-ret it, like we were showing these particular stalks that I pulled out of the pond, they were just breaking in your hand. Now, would that become tow fiber?
Well, I think
in earlier times, waste be used for another purpose?
I think so. I was talking to a gentleman this morning who uses it as fire starter. So people who do certain kinds of black powder gun shooting, like historical reenactment kind of things. You go through quite a bit in that process. So I think, to me, it's too prickly to want to have as bedding material. I actually had to put a Band-Aid on by a little prick of that.
At this point, you would have seen it's been grown, it's been pulled, it's been put into beets, and then and stooks and dried in the field, and then it gets rippled to remove the seeds because we don't want to waste the seeds. And now we're at the point of retting. And so what I do is I am always sort of experimenting and fashioning different ways to ret flax. There's a lot of schools of thought about, you know, were those rocks there to, somebody said the other day, I think that they drove their wagons out on that, and that's how they got the flax down. And it's like, well, maybe that was, I used rocks to weight down the flax because I had read in a number of accounts that that's how they did it. And that worked fine, but we're in 2025, and for the sake of, so I like the, all right, we want to experience the history piece of it, and then I'm in 2025 now, and I want to produce fiber, so I use what materials I have, and so this piece of trellis last year was what I laid the flax out on. This is,
the blacksmith starts up.
Well, where do you have to pick a different spot next year to grow it?
Starting a fire.
Um,
$15 at the Laconia Antique Store.
Wow.
About a month ago. I could try to get the,
Thank you. Well, that makes this bright yellow. Weld does very well on linen usually, whereas this and this were also in the same dye bath. This is a plant called Orange Cosmos, and you see the wool is very dark and the linen practically took no color at all.
wow. What is weld?
It's
Exhaust.
Weld is a, well, so the exhaust means this was the first batch that I did and this is the second.
Oh, okay.
And you see that it is fading in the light here from, so where it's lighter here, that's just been exposed to the sun more. And then this was more the, it was not quite as big of a contrast. Anyway, long story short, it's a plant that gives you a very bright yellow. Considered one of the dye plants of antiquity. It's been, you know, used for thousands of years. And then these are the same, these two shades of weld over dyed with this blue from woad, which is another plant that gives. Yes, this I do grow, and actually this is all my homegrown. So the weld I grow and use, and the woad I grow and use.
That's very pretty.
Because you get.
Is that from the Fedco catalog? Where do you find the woad?
Oh, you know, I originally got the seeds from Richter's in Canada, Richter's Herbs.
Oh.
But then it's very easy to seed save from it. You just let it's a biennial, you just let it go to seed the next year, and then you have a lifetime supply. Weld, and then this is either woad or another plant called Japanese indigo that makes it blue, so then you can over dye the yellow to make a green. Or you can, in this case, what happened was it was dyed blue first, and then I put it in the dye bath. Then I put it in a. What am I trying to say? Then I put it in the weld dye bath after it was blue. You can.
it's just like red, like silk. I've never used any of these things, but now I feel like
haven't made it over there.
some textile design. It's
Which
not
one?
there any longer, but it was really fortunate to find that.
It might be
I
part,
grew up
yeah.
here and I could also place it. My interest was in
Maybe
traditional textiles.
yeah.
So RISD and some of the other places that I even weren't really.
It's a little heavier, microscopically speaking.
Even now, it was a great New England history program, so I got to sort of
And my hands were like this. Yeah. With carpal tunnel.
Yeah.
In the quilting.
So it's a linen warp
Yeah.
and wool, but it's like, which is the web?
Oh, because the wool thing was into web. Okay. I gotta fix that.
It's okay. I was like, well, then what?
We would call it Lindsay Woolsey even if it was cotton. Yeah, cotton. And like this is called a Lindsay Woolsey even though it's all wool.
Really?
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. I think it was just a term.
Huh. I didn't even think I got.
Whether or not there was ever a patent model.
I look quick, I like to see. I only look quick.
Yeah.
But what I use is this Dutch style, which came out of, I don't know if it might have been that Diderot book.
Oh, Diderot, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has the tanning pictures and all that.
Oh, he's got everything in there, close to medieval.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this the Austrian style with the swinging, which is probably more efficient.
In cold water.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you really get an ugly looking thing.
Well, you fishermen's sweaters, they'd go out and hope they would get wet because then they would shrink and become waterproof because it was so tight.
Yeah, that's what wools are.
Yeah.
That's the thing I learned about it. My family knew that because we had neighbors here in Alaska.
That does big, practically sombrero walls. And like you put a little
They have
on a
showing their exhibits and displays showing the development of domestic production from the 1600s.
Gonna get this loom all dressed up. All right, another inch done. Almost halfway.
Just pop it to the head. Yeah, perfect.
A little room to spare on each side.
Awesome. It won't be wet stuffed.
That's, well, there, you lose more. Oh, these sarosas are so tiny. Looks like cheap threads.
There was a lot of flags. And then the worst part is, well,
It's okay. No, that's all right.
I
That's
can't
quite a,
remember what it is.
twister.
Yeah, I mean, it actually, Nancy and I were talking as she was getting ready to thread up. She says, "What side do you start from?" And I said, "I can't remember. If I sit at the loom, threading up the harnesses, if I sit at the loom, I'm pretty sure I start on the right. Yeah, except with a wide thing, I start in the middle and work this way and then work this way. Yeah, like if I'm doing a coverlet. But I don't weave anymore other than demonstrating at the Farm Museum every once in a while. Yeah, I live in a tight,
When it gets a certain length, somebody... Well, that's about it from Gilmanton. Thank you for watching.